Well, hello everybody. I say that every time and I don't know if that's professional or not, but I'm saying hi. So before I get started on today's video, I just want to say really quick, I have now got 73 subscribers and still nobody's really commenting. I think overall my channel's got something like 60 comments, and I would really like to hear who you are. And if you don't care and you're not too shy, go into the comment section below and just tell me who you are and maybe what you like about my channel, and that way I can gear my channel a little bit closer to what is helpful. And that's what I want to be. I want to be helpful. Well, that didn't go down well. Okay, so I'm going to try not to do too many faux pas in this video because I don't want to edit it too much. Excuse me. So, tonight I am going to talk about something that I've been plagued with most of my life. And I think most of you probably have dealt with it too, especially if you're a parent or a mother, or, you know, maybe somebody that's, you know, has taken it upon yourself to be a caregiver, or a lot of different things. You're married, you have a job. This will hit just about anything. And what this is called is feeling like you're never enough. That's Noogie. Noogie, damn. So, feeling like you're never enough. Now, I have a short on my channel that talks about why I decided, after a lot of contemplation, why I should just be authentic. Now, there's several reasons why I decided to be authentic. I've never been a fakey person. I don't like being fake. And it may have not it may not have been the best decision to make, but I decided early on in life that if people didn't like me for what I was, I just wasn't going to worry about it. I was just going to be who I was. Now, I could have probably made this place look like a set and fancied it up some, and maybe I could have bought me a couple of really nice shirts so that I didn't look dumpy. I could always keep my hair colored. You see, I'm a little behind, a few weeks behind, and if I let my hair grow out, it'd be white as snow. White as snow. I probably could use filters and a bunch of makeup or whatever and make myself look younger, and just putting on the dog, putting on the Ritz. I'm not interested in putting on the Ritz, because I'm going to tell you, you may be putting on the Ritz and you may be putting on the dog and you may be dressing straight out of the ashes and you may be, you know, doing all kinds of cosmetic stuff to make yourself look good when you go out to impress people, make yourself look younger and all of that stuff. But when you go home and you peel off all those shenanigans and you creep across the floor because your back's hurting, or you've been standing on them dang high heels all day. You may have impressed other people, but what have you done to yourself? Now, I have never felt like I was enough. My entire life I felt like I was a disappointment. And I've pondered this whole lot in my life, and I guess that's why I decided that I was going to take more of a nonchalant attitude about it. Yes, I'm fluffy. I have really never been on any dieting to lose weight much in my life, and I probably do need to lose weight, but I was fluffy from the time I was a child. Now, I've been on diets to improve my health, and I'm pretty healthy for my age. And but let's just talk about this. If you never feel like you're enough, one of the first things that's going to come to my mind is societal pressures. Because we're looking at these Facebook pages, and we're looking at these YouTube channels, and we're looking at all of these images, that's coming our way. And the guys are buff and tattooed, and the women look like that they just stepped out of some kind of a Barbie doll magazine. And if that's your thing, and that's what you like, that's fine. Everybody's different, especially if it's not, because you're just trying to be something you're not. But we look at that and we think, well, here I'm 65 years old. Why can't I look like I'm 35? Let me get this snipped and tucked and, change it all. So there's societal pressures to perform and to be perfect. But then there are family pressures. So you may be married to somebody that thought you something you wasn't. Or you may be have parents that you have just never quite made the grade. Or you may have siblings that for some reason they just reached this stature of, quote, perfection, and they're just going to find fault with you all the time. And it's pretty tough when you feel like you're never good enough. No matter how hard you try, somebody is going to find fault with what you did or how you did it. You can say things that are meant to be taken with love, and somebody will say you said it in the wrong way. Having the right tone is almost impossible because and I've said it myself. Well, your tone was off. Well, maybe they had gas. I've tried to learn to pay attention to what people are saying, to pay attention to what's coming out of their mouth, and kind of read their eyes a little bit to see if they're saying it with a heart of love. But tones can be off just because of strange things. You got a cramp in your toe or something. But pressures from the outside, comparisons with other people, and our tendency to strive for perfection will make us feel like we are never good enough. We can't please those that we are wanting to please. You may have that parent that you can just never please. They always have expectations of you. Sometimes parents want you to be what they always wanted to be and they couldn't succeed, but they raised you hoping you would succeed or something like that. I mean, we live in a pretty messed up society in about every way you can imagine, family and otherwise. So now, one of the things that happens is when you feel like you're never good enough, and with children, and I trust me, I didn't know all this stuff, and I didn't do it all right, and I did a lot of things wrong, so I'm not finding fault with anybody's raising, their child raising. But finding fault with little children that haven't even learned hardly to grow out of they haven't grown into their shoes yet, and you're already expecting them to act like adults. Well, that's just totally wrong. And it causes them to have low self-esteem. It causes them to have depression, anxiety. And I'm going to tell you something, and I learned this the hard way. You may be working a job or you may not be working a job, but if somebody else is raising your children, especially when they're under 3 years old, that person, you may totally trust that person. It may be a family member, it may be a well-documented daycare. You may totally trust that person, but if that person is feeding into your child, especially before the age of 3 and then right up there to the age of 5, they are going to imprint on that child. And if they see that they're not totally accepted, or they feel somehow or other they are deficient, that child is going to be marked for life with anxiety, depression, personality issues, attachment issues. And I'm going to tell you, when I was in school, I watched it very carefully. So we was lining up to go get a drink of water or go to the bathroom or whatever. And if the teacher put her hand on the child's shoulder in front, you know how they kind of, wave them on through, and she didn't put her hand on me, I was hurt. And you may say that's silly, but I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and I needed validation. And but you're just a name and a number in a lot of these, institutional system type things. But when you're raising your children, especially if you can raise your children yourself, you need, now this is a tall order too, but you need to display to them how they should be. They should learn by seeing your actions. Now, if you're as dysfunctional as I was, if you're as discombobulated as I was, that's a really tall order, because I didn't have a lot of function and stability set out in front of me. I didn't learn, a lot of that stuff. But that, in an ideal world, that's the way it works. Always showing them love, compassion, setting an example, not raising your voice, not yelling, and all of that stuff. But the reason that I went into the whole parental thing is because our society, for the most part, has been raised by school teachers, and a lot of them weren't Mrs. Santa Claus. Trust me, I had some. So we have a society that has very low self-esteem, and they try to cover up with that with perfectionism. They have a lot of anxiety and depression. They have all kinds of relationship problems and attachment problems, and they have a lack of fulfillment because, if you're always getting a D- or an F on everything that you try to accomplish in life, well, you're not going to be fulfilled. You're going to be disappointed in yourself. You're going to be unhappy. Now, we all have certain expectations. I have had expectations. And everybody I know has had expectations, and sometimes we have a tendency to put those expectations on people that aren't quite capable of fulfilling those expectations. We're trying to tell somebody something and expecting them to be smart to get it, and they just ain't getting it. Or we're wanting somebody to fulfill us emotionally, and they don't have enough emotional stability themselves to hardly know what you're talking about, much less feed into you. So we have a society that's really, really codependent, needy, anxious, all kinds of attachment disorders, and we have not coped well as a human race. Now, I sort of want to go back and blame this on the boomers and the Gen X and all of that stuff, but let's just face it, our generation, I think the world's a better place now than it was, and I want to say it's a better place because of the Gen Zers and some of the younger millennials, because they are sensitive enough And I'm going to talk a whole lot about highly sensitive people, and this would affect highly sensitive people, so I'll probably put it in that playlist. But highly sensitive people, as long as they haven't, allowed themselves to be filled with bitterness and rage and a lot of bad things, highly sensitive people are going to be more empathic and they're going to care. And I'm hoping that that's going to lead to a better society. But anyway, talking about when you never feel like you're good enough. Now, what's the solution? What is the solution? If you're a mother of 55 and you've got children that's come up and you could never keep them happy, you've bought them everything in the world, you've tried different approaches and they're just never happy, or maybe you've got a husband or a wife that no matter what you do, you don't look good enough, you don't smell good enough, you don't cook good enough, the house is never clean enough, or you do all of those things and you're trying to meet the mark and they're still grouchy as an old sore-tailed bear. And you're like hopeless. So what do? What's the solution to never being enough for anybody? Well, I've found that solution. And it's working for me. And if it can work for me, it can work for anybody. I'll tell you that much right now. And for free. So, the solution to never feeling like you're good enough is to celebrate yourself. You just have a great big old party for yourself. Stop worrying about what other people think about you. And if they're going to grouch, if they're going to gripe, if they're going to disapprove, they're going to do it no matter. There ain't a thing in the world you can keep to keep an unhappy person from grouching and growling. Distance yourself if you can. Create your own safe space and everything. But this is how you celebrate yourself. Now, you know how hard you've worked. You know how hard you've tried. Accept that. Just accept yourself. Accept the fact that, no, I ain't perfect. And, I got wrinkles and my face is like a Shar-Pei. I need to do my facial aerobics and get it all tightened up. And I got a really bad camera right now. But if y'all looked close at some of my videos or some of my pictures, Lordy mercy, I look old. One of these days I'm just going to let this all go gray. But I've had a saying for a while that I don't care to be gray-headed and I don't care to be fat or fluffy. I just don't want to be both. Nah, I try to keep myself looking halfway presentable. I'm just having a little fun with you. But you need to love yourself. Now, it took me a while to do that. It took me a while to figure out how to do it. But what you need to do is love and accept yourself and start looking at all the things you have done right. You've got talents. I know you've got talents. But look at what you have done. Look at what you have accomplished. And maybe you're loved and you're smothered in gratitude and you got children that just think that you was the best thing since peanut butter. And maybe this ain't for you. But sometimes you're just underappreciated. But you can appreciate yourself. And I want you to start meditating on those talents that you have. And how much that you have given into your family. And how much you've fought for your family. And your good intentions. Some good intentions are amazing. You may go about it all the wrong way. But if you had good intentions, your heart was right. Maybe you just got a really good heart. But you need to notice those things and accept yourself. Love yourself. Now, if you can do that, you also have to accept your imperfections. if I only started making a list of all my imperfections and all my mess ups and all of my screw ups and how I underappreciated other people and how I've let my temper get ahead of me and how I have been too needy and too self-absorbed and oh my goodness, I'd have a list longer than Santa Claus. I think I got Christmas on the head in the mind. But anyway, you have to accept the fact that you've got imperfections. Now, what you can do is once those imperfections are like highlighted in your mind, start working on them. Start improving yourself. There's nothing like appreciating yourself when you're actually actively working on being a better person. And you need to surround yourself with positivity. Now, you may be a crafty person, you may be an artist, you may be a person that has a lot of interest in music, maybe you're a culture person, maybe you're a country person, maybe you like to garden. Whatever brings a sense of positivity to your heart and to your life. Maybe you're a person that just loves color. I'm a person that just loves color, and I love flowers. And I have, since I've been on this path of self-discovery and self-appreciation and celebrating myself, I have really found out what things that I truly loved. I didn't realize that I loved flowers like I did. And I know I love color. I've always loved color. And I have a story. I went and visited a little friend that I had, and I probably wasn't over 6 or 7 years old, but somebody had bought her, like for Christmas or something, the kit. And it was that Chinese folding paper. I can't think of what it is right now. Somebody can tell me what that is, but you know how the Chinese folding paper. But somebody, she was just a little girl, and somebody bought her a kit. And there was a stack of little 4x4 sheets of paper about this big. And oh my goodness, the colors. That was probably part of my autism. I never said a word, but I could have just sit and went through those colors. Oh, the most brilliant jewel tones, deep purple, deep burgundy, you know, all of those, you know, teal and all of those deep, rich colors. I could have went through those for hours because it just filled my soul with music. And I used to work in my sister's flower shop. And whenever I'd go to the cooler to get flowers, oh my goodness, the carnations and the roses would be in there. And I could have just stuck my face right in there. I could have crawled in that cooler. As much as I hate cold, I could have just crawled in that cooler. And every time I went in there, I was just like, just taking that deep breath. And I go to Sam's right now, and they'll have their display of roses and stuff. Some of them smell pretty good, but I found that flowers in the store, they don't generally have that smell, you know. But oh my goodness, I just stick my face in those bouquets and just sniff because it smells so heavenly. So I have really discovered the things that I love. Now, one of these days I'm hoping I'll be able to have those gardens. And one of these days, you know, maybe I'll be able to fill my life with color. And right now I live in the desert and I can't have either one. But I have found out that looking at these things and just imagining these things might be better than actually having it, because you're allowing yourself to just feel the joy. You know, Christmas is wonderful, and if you can spend, I'm looking forward to Christmas this year, but if you can spend Christmas with your family and you can have that holiday spirit and everything going on, that is absolutely the best ever. Spending time with your family is the best ever. But there's a whole lot of work goes into that. You're going to work really, really hard stressing your self out to get the house. Now, I'm not discouraging that. I'm planning to do that myself. But my asthma's been up and I got a little congestion, so you just try to override that. But the air quality here's been real bad in the desert. So you were going to have to work really, really hard to get that house all decorated to look like Home Alone. And you're going to have to work really, really hard to have that eggnog and that ham and all of those fixings and all of those things, you know, those pies and those cakes and those Christmas cookies. You're going to work really, really hard, and you may wear yourself out so bad that you just don't even have time to, you know, you may be washing dishes while the family's sitting in there watching some Christmas movie and you just feel left out. Sometimes things in real life can be a little bit disappointing because it just doesn't quite turn out the way you want, or you just feel like you wasn't good enough or whatever, because humans are rife with emotion. But I have found out that if I just look at the pictures, sometimes if I just absorb the sound of that Christmas music, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Sorry about the bad singing. But anyway, just absorb that in. We have to realize we can live in joy. We can fill ourselves with joy, even if we're not sitting in a puddle of joy. Our surroundings may be very difficult, but if you're looking and listening and watching for things that would just give you happiness, then you're going to find yourself in a much happier place. And then, you know, you're going to have that fulfillment that you need. It's not, you hear people say it's not the destination, it's the journey. Well, that's true. That's true. It's not about how beautiful your Christmas tree is when you get it up and whether or not your kids just brag on it and think that's the finest thing in the world. It's your joy in hand making those ornaments or hand picking out those ornaments at the store, and your experience that Friday afternoon of putting up that Christmas tree and just listening to Christmas music and having a few Christmas cookies yourself. Celebrate yourself. And, you know, sometimes people will join on with you and sometimes they won't. Sometimes people are just hanger-oners, and as long as you're pulling off all of the stunts, they don't care whether they enjoy it with you or not. But you can celebrate yourself. You can look deep in your soul and love yourself. Take that bubble bath. Take that little walk into the park. Snuggle up with your dog or your cat, because they have pure love. They really love you. You're always good enough for them. You can get out of the bed and have bad breath and terrible hair and ain't had a bath in 2 days, and they just think you're wonderful. And you are. You are special. And even if you don't feel appreciated and you don't feel loved, you're special. God made you in His image. And if you don't get a hug today, just hug yourself. I hug you. I'm just going to give you a hug right here. Just snuggle, snuggle. Because you're special. And you need to love yourself. And you need to hug yourself. And you need to be happy. So don't let people make you feel like you're not good enough. You are. And you may be one of them women sitting in a nursing home, or daddy in a nursing home. Noogie, stop. And you feel like you've given everything to your children. And they don't even come to see you. You didn't get a Mother's Day card. You didn't get a Father's Day card. But you know in your heart that you did everything in your power. You did a good job. I'm going to tell you right now, you did a good job. So, I've got all messed up again. I don't know what it is with me and all the crying lately. But stop feeling like you're not enough. You're enough. But start filling your soul with happy. No, 'He's upset because I'm not giving him attention. Fill your life with joy. Fill your life with positive affirmations. Love yourself. Celebrate you. I'm going to say goodbye now. Till the next video.